Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am so glad that you guys decided to tune in today. So today's video is a really important topic because I know for me personally it's something that I do struggle with when I fall into periods of stagnancy, zero growth, or just times where I'm very comfortable with my situation and just like how things are going when I fall into a routine, etc, etc. These are 5 tips that I found are very useful in staying on track or just getting yourself back on track when you feel like you've just kind of fallen off with God and things aren't really going well, or when you feel like you just haven't grown in a long time and you're really hungry and thirsting for God. I feel like these 5 tips could be very useful. So the way that I'm going to kind of go about this is I am not going to put them, I haven't necessarily ranked them in a particular order. I guess it's just going to depend on how important something feels to you. And I'm also going to use at least one verse to back up each thing. And like I did in my last video, or a couple videos ago, depending on when I upload it, like I did in that video, I'm not going to be reading the verses to you guys just so it feels more real and authentic, like kind of when I'm having conversations with my friends. So I will be referencing verses, provided that I remember where it came from, but I don't want to read the full verse. I don't know. Tell me how you guys feel about that. Leave a comment down below if you guys like it when I read full verses, or if you just rather me paraphrase, which is bad, I shouldn't paraphrase, but if you'd rather me just kind of reference the verse and have I don't know, the location up here. I don't know, just tell me if you guys like it like that or if you want me to go back to reading the verses. And if you don't mind, I will be looking at my phone because I have quite a few notes written down, as well as addressing some websites, blogs that I've read that are helping me to further support my point. Okay, so I know that was a lot of talking, but I'm about to get into it. So I'm going to start with tip number 5, but like I said, they're not ranked in any particular order. And this tip is music. So when you feel like you're falling back, the music that you listen to can honestly do so much. Like I said in the music video, music is something that really helps me on my journey. When I'm feeling sad, when I'm feeling alone, when I'm feeling unencouraged, I go to YouTube. I don't have any music apps on my phone or anything. But I go to YouTube, I play my Christian playlist, which is in my liked videos if you guys want to go check it out. I play my Christian playlist and I literally listen to the whole thing if I'm studying, if I'm in the library, if I'm just idle, or if I really just feel like I need to be in the spirit, surrounded by the spirit. I turn on some good music, Christian music, because that's all I listen to, and I really allow the spirit to kind of penetrate the atmosphere and lift me up. Now some people think that you don't necessarily have to listen to Christian music, that Christians can listen to secular music. And I was reading this one blog post about music, and they used Philippians 4 verse 8 to kind of explain music, and they argued that there are 3 things that each Christian should consider when deciding whether or not they want to listen to a particular secular song or secular music in general. And the 3 things that this person mentioned was the purpose of the music, the style of the music, and the content of the lyrics. Now they said that in the purpose of the music, that Bible God had a diverse use of music, that while it seems that music should be used primarily for praise and worship, in the Bible King Saul called on David to kind of soothe his soul, kind of calm him down when he was in a rough time, and things like that. And David is one of the famous musicians in the Bible. But this person argued that in the Bible that there's just a wide range and purpose for music. So if you feel like you're listening to music to calm yourself down, or if you want to worship, or for another reason, then they said that there should, so far with that point, there should be no reason why you shouldn't listen to secular music. But if we go to point 2, which was the style of music, again, the Bible doesn't particularly address a certain style of music that everyone should do. So that means that if you want to listen to rock music or rap music, or I don't know what other kind of music, R&B, whatever, that type of stuff, it shouldn't necessarily matter, because the Bible didn't particularly say, oh, you should listen to music with no drums, no piano, no nothing, just a voice, or you should only sing hymns, stuff like that, if you get what I'm saying. But the last point is the point that I agree with the most, which was about the lyrics. The lyrics have a lot of power. Okay, because there's a lot of power in our tongue, and I know somewhere in the Bible it says that our tongue is a very powerful muscle, a very powerful vessel. I use the verse Philippians 4 verse 8, which I will read to you guys, even though I said I wasn't going to read it. I will read it because I feel like, I don't know, this was a good point.
Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about it. Think about such things.
Now, I feel like this verse was very good because when you consider music that's, I don't know, talking about lust or like sex or like abuse, violence, drugs, all these things that are very prominent in our world today. And I don't mean to sound like very stereotypical, like, oh,
Everyone does drugs and everyone has sex, blah, blah, blah.
but I'm just like being real. Like, I don't know how else to like describe what I'm saying without saying these words that a lot of people do tend to address. But like, when you're listening to music like that, that music will, like, it does have the power to like kind of enter into your mental and kind of influence the way that you're thinking. Why do you think so many people hate that? Is it like a 21 Savage song? The one that's talking about, oh, my friends are dead. Like, why do you think people like are like feeling some type of way about that song? Because why would you be declaring such things that all your friends are like? That's absolutely absurd. So I really do think that music is very important, and when you're falling off track, that's like one way to like easily kind of refocus yourself is to put on some, I suggest, good Christian music, some worship music, some praise songs, your favorite praise song, whatever, and just really focus on the lyrics, really allow the Holy Spirit to like enter into your atmosphere and just kind of penetrate your mind, penetrate your mental, because there is a lot of power in music. That's why people cry. A lot of people cry when they listen to really strong, powerful music, because the Holy Spirit is just really taking over. And when you give the Holy Spirit room to do what He's asking to do, things can really change. Tip number 4. I suggest that you be kingdom-minded. So with this tip, I think it's really important. I did a thread on Twitter like quite some time ago about how a lot of people want to kind of discuss certain things that are happening in their life, but they tend to say, can we talk about it without talking about religion? And when I say religion, I'm talking about like God in general, but I just felt like religion was like a really broad way to address it. But people would be like, okay, like for example, if I'm saying, hey, like I'm really just unhappy with things or how things are going right now, like I'm really struggling in this class, for example, and I just really don't know what to do. Like I've tried talking to the professor, I'm studying, blah blah. This is my scenario. This is a scenario I just made up. Like someone would be like, okay, so you're like talking to someone about this, and they tell you, okay, like, well, have you tried praying about it? And you're like, in your head, you're like, okay, like, of course I'll pray about it, sure, but is that really gonna help me with my situation? Well, of course it's gonna help you with your situation, because God is all-knowing, and if anything we put our mind to, He will help us to do it. What is it? Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Like, God is our strength, He is our provider, so He would of course be able to help us through any situation. But it's things like that where we think like, okay, we'll be able to handle this certain situation without putting the God factor into it. And in my opinion, I think God needs to be the center of it all. And when I say be kingdom-minded, I mean like approaching everything that you do in this life with God in the forefront, okay? With God in the forefront. So if we're thinking about, I don't know, like, okay, this guy is really trying to finesse, like he's slid to my DMs or whatever, and he's really, like, he seems really interested in me, and he's talking about us, like, taking the next step, like, okay, I can think about it like without considering God and thinking, okay, God, like, is it even time for me to be entering into a relationship? Like, is this guy even like someone who I could potentially marry? Like, and that of course will have to do with whether or not you date to marry. But is this someone who is going to be good for me? Is this someone who's going to be good for my life? Like, I think that it is important to consider God in all things that we do, because in considering God, we're making sure that we're walking according to His will and walking according to His plan. And when you're kingdom-minded, you're constantly thinking about how this plays into God, how this could contribute to our life in the kingdom, if you get what I'm saying. And I know that, I mean, that's how I interpret kingdom-minded right now, because I like to think of it as, basically it's like, kind of like my WWJD, kind of. I just like to think about God in everything I do. But some people also think about it like, what would be your reward in heaven type of stuff. But nonetheless, being kingdom-minded is also very important when you feel like you're falling off track and that you're like backsliding, for example. If you think about things, like if you continue to make conscious decisions with God in mind, I promise you that it will make a difference. That and music. Just thinking about God and thinking about how He would approach the situation, or how He would want you to approach the situation, and really just keeping yourself focused on the things that are of God, and reminding yourself that God's plan, Jeremiah 29:11, that His plans for us are good, and